ClubMX Network production.
Welcome to the Troy Lee Designs and Racetech Suspension and Engines Blair Matthes Project.
Yeah, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Troy Lee Designs Racetech Blair Matthes Project. This is episode 3. And man, if you thought the first 2 were bangers, just wait. This one's going to get even better. I got a new camera. I got a new microphone. I got a new attitude as well. And looking forward to you guys watching and listening. Thanks for the positive reviews we got. The Blair Brigade has been strong, and I'm happy to be teamed up with my buddy, Daniel Blair. What's up, DB?
Is that what we're running with, Brigade? The Orange Brigade? Come on.
Sure.
Something better than that. We got to
All right.
be more creative. Let's get halfway into this season. We'll come up with something. But Brigade, man, that's a name from the past, Stephen.
The Blair Brothel?
Maybe. I mean, I'm free agent right now when it comes to employment, so we'll see where it goes. But maybe. But how you doing today? How was Anaheim? That one.
Yeah, it was great, man. Anaheim was cool, and I want to talk about that a little bit. But first, thank you to racetech.com. Love these guys. We had Cody Webb on the ClubMX show last night. He's a huge Racetech guy, Blue Crew. And so thank you to the guys at Racetech, man. They get a discount over there if you mention this show or you mention ClubMX. Get your motor work done, get suspension work done. They do motor work for a factory team in the pits that they and I cannot talk about because they sign an NDA, but that's the kind of work they do. The machines they have, they can do laser precision cutting and porting and polishing on 4-stroke heads, and racetech.com. They got it all. Never mind their suspension work. So thank you to those guys for coming on board. And Troy Lee Designs, a leader in performance action sports gear since 81. Whether you're into moto or mountain biking, Troy Lee has you covered with high-quality helmets, apparel, protective gear. TroyLeeDesigns.com. Of course, we've seen the Troy Lee Designs Ducati truck at the races, and we're going to continue to see it at the races. Troy and the gang will be back next year with some great riders on the Ducati. So check out TroyLeeDesigns.com for the full range of stuff, and we have a discount code. We will have one each and every week on this show. We finally got one, and it's only good for a week at TroyLeeDesigns.com, but the code is PulpMX3. PulpMX3, the code to save at Troy Lee Designs. So use that for the next week and listen next week, watch next week to get another code from those guys. Thanks to Decal Works, Maxxis, Seat Concepts, A-Stars, ASV, Firepower, and Zools as well. And yeah, Daniel, Anaheim too. Here's the part where I was saying, I'm crusty, I'm old, I'm a glass half empty guy. Miserable a lot of the times. I'm a 5. Nothing really brings me joy in life. The Leafs suck. The Blue Jays suck. The Raiders suck. But I'm telling you what, I'm feeling good about these races. The first 3 races have been really good. Jett may grab a hold of this thing yet, but the tracks have been good. The racing's been good. The Deegan, kind of not doing what we thought he did until this weekend has been exciting to watch, and maybe he goes on a run also. But I'll tell you what, man, compared to the rain-soaked series last year and the sort of this has been really good racing. So I'm stoked, Daniel. I'm happy to talk about it.
Same here. I'm always big January guy. I love the start of the year because it's unsettled. We're figuring things out. It's my favorite month of the year for racing, but this one just is different. I don't know if it's because we are in the beginning of this Jett Hayden era, which I think we are starting. I mean, if you think about it in eras as the sport goes, we're getting towards the end of the Eli, Coop, Kenny, Jason. That was a big chunk of time we had. And now we're in this new one, and it just seems spicier, man, and weirder. The things Hayden does and says, and now Jett on and off the track. It's like the sport's just spicy and weird this year. And I don't know if that's what's making it better. But then there's old, trusty, faithful Ken Roczen in January just crushing it. Now the points leader, which is insane. And then you have a breakout guy in the West in Juju. So we're getting a lot of the things we always get, but I don't know if it's the Jett Hayden effect, but everything seems weirder and louder and bigger and spicier. And that's I leave every Saturday night going, damn, can't wait for the next one. And I always feel that way a little, but this year's more, just way more for some reason.
Can I use this show, the Troy Lee Designs Racetech Blair Matthes Project, to complain about the review show on Racer X?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
My buddy JT, he's really smart. He's really knowledgeable. He does a great job on TV, but I was trying to promote on the review show, like, this is awesome. Roxon has the red plate. This is cool. We kind of forgot about them, like meet the new boss, same as the old boss, that type of stuff, right? And he hasn't won a race yet, but he's got the red plate, and it's a really cool story. And generally, Kenny late in races has issues, and he hasn't. And JT in the review pod's like, yeah, but he's not going to win the championship. He's just not going to be there to the end. And it's like, I believe that also. And so do you, Daniel. Like, it's just Kenny shown to not be that consistent. But can we just soak this in and celebrate it?
Yeah, but we both know JT. He has a high percentage of accuracy, and he likes to be accurate. He doesn't like to throw out things that he sees as probably overhyped, which, again, if you look at the history, he's not wrong. Because I listen to the review show, and I don't think JT's wrong, but yeah, he definitely is going with the high probability. And
but can we just celebrate Kenny?
Yeah, and it's because it's so awkward though, because he hasn't won. The big three won. Okay. And coming in that those three would win. And then from there it goes into, okay, does Coop get one? Does Kenny get one? Does Jason or Hunter? So the big three all got theirs already, yet Kenny's a points leader. And it's very unpredictable feeling because he hasn't won, but he's been sneaky good at every single round. So yeah, I get it. The history would say, let's not get overly excited, but because the season's so wild and weird and we know the inevitable, I'm down to get all hyped up about it. I mean, we got to kickstart leading the. I mean, we're talking about new bikes and technology all the time, how it matters so much. Dude's on an 05.
I loved Kiefer's point from last night. He said this is the worst thing that could happen because Kenny with the red plate, Suzuki's going to go, look, man, we don't need a new bike. We're good.
I mean, they don't. And what's funny is they came into the season on the power rankings below Beta. Did you see the first week on the manufacturer power rankings?
Dustin Pipes has showed me that. Yes,
they were below Beta, and now it's the points leading bike. But that's what's making this year so weird. It's so upside down and all over the place, and that's why it's fun. I mean, the conversations are they're endless. I don't know what we're getting into. I know we have a list, but we could go in 100 places right now, really. With the
yeah, absolutely. So good on Kenny. He's got the factory transmission. He's got a new REP suspension on his bike. I had someone close to Kenny tell me that whatever's new on his bike, he absolutely loves, and it affects him until it doesn't. So whether it's factory connection on the Honda, whether it's Active Ride, last year's suspension guy, whether it's the triple clamps that he put on a Honda, anything new is amazing to Kenny, and it helps him ride better. And then there's a tipping point where, like a lot of riders, it's no longer the answer. But for now, Kenny, this is the answer. He has been happy. That transmission, we talked about that before. It's got to help him a lot to have a taller first and second. Daniel, you raced. You know that any rider I've worked with as a mechanic loved it. So, yeah, I think he's feeling good. He's feeling happy. And, like, I know I'm with JT. He's not going to be there at the end for the championship. I think Kenny would admit that. But you know what? Damn it. Celebrate Ken Roczen right now.
Absolutely. Hey, but this is where I'm immature, man. I get too excited because now we're going to Glendale and he's swept there before. So now I'm excited thinking he's going to win this one. But what if he did? Honestly, I mean, think about it in the two options here. Option one is he doesn't win, but he probably rides good because he's riding good in January. He always does. And he's ripping right now. But Steve, what if he won? What if he did win Glendale Triple Crown and went from the points leader to winning the fourth round and growing the lead? Like it will get interesting talking about that, because it's one thing to be good and get your way into the points lead, but if you get it and then go beat all three of them at Glendale, like, man, when the attention's kind of on you, it would be big. So I'm not trying to put the extra pressure on, other than maybe the moment is amazing for him if he could do it. So I typically don't pull for the favorite. I'm like a non-points leader guy. I want anyone else to win, but I'll kind of go Kenny this week just to make it even that much weirder in January. So I go Kenny. Yeah. I'll jump to the end of the show right now. Kenny in Glendale, dude. Sweep it.
I would love it, but as good as he's been at Glendale, Eli's been better, and Eli's had more speed than Kenny to start the year. So, yeah, it might be Tomac's time and Glendale to grab another win. I don't know, but yeah, either one is a cool story. I did want to talk about Jett real quickly. Obviously, won the race. I still don't think he's there with the bike, though. You watch it. If he grabs a handful of throttle, it steps out on him. He looked very good in the whoops 90% of the time, and then not so good 10% of the time. I know from talking to some Honda guys, they went to the old Showa parts inside the forks. That, every suspension company has some new things to try. They gave them new things to try. It didn't really work. They went back to the old stuff inside the forks and shock, and that's better. But the Honda guys even admit that they have some work to do on the bike. So knowing that and seeing the alien Jett Lawrence kid grab a win, even not looking like 100% on his game, that's a scary part too, because they'll just continue to work on that new 25 chassis, and so this thing could be all of this shit we're talking about, DB with Tomac and Roxon and this and that. This thing could be over again.
Yeah, and this sucks for him, but I like watching him like this, because when it's all perfect and he is just in sync, he has a way of making it just seem too easy, and he's bored us a lot. Like, I mean, he's had this thing where he gets up front and kind of just plays with the comp behind it. He's done a lot of that to us. So unfortunately for him, I like him on the edge a little bit right now, because he doesn't look as comfortable. He looks like it is about to get out from under him all the time. And he's having to recover a lot, like little recoveries. And I don't remember that from him other than maybe like rookie 250 years. So it's actually fun to watch him kind of hold the bull and win and still pull it off and do magical things, but at the same time, not look so boring about it. Cause he sometimes, man, it's just like too good. So Steve, it's scary, because if they do find that next level of comfort and he gets back to being that other version of Jett, he could just win 5. You know what I mean? Because he's a good starter. That could happen. But right now, I think we're still in a window where he ain't comfortable. It ain't right. He's having to be a little sendy, and everyone else is on fire. Like Jason is ripping, and Kenny. I think we still have a window. We're still in a good zone with Jett, but 2-3 more weeks, man. If they do find the comfort and he can settle down, then they're probably screwed, because right now it's still a little loose, and that's good.
What do you think of Jason Anderson's ride? I thought he was the best guy through the whoops all night. Got another podium, so he's off to a strong start. He was sick last week, so other than that, he's been on the podium twice. What'd you make of JA?
Loved it. Like, I mean, Jett was so stuck there for so long, like the heat and then the main, it was just like he was trying the same stuff. And I was just thinking, Jason is under the most ridiculous pressure, and it's just never ending. You could hear it back there nonstop, and it's Jett. So he's got something up his sleeve. And I just thought it was rad for Jason to just be so stubbornly in his line and never gave in. They got sideways or close to each other a few times, and he just never budged. So I thought it was weirdly one of his best rides I've ever seen. Like, from riding standpoint, he was on the edge the whole time and sick. So it's got to be a little frustrating, though, just having such a great ride, and then he still gets you. You know what I mean? That's got to suck a little bit. But if I'm him, man, I'm probably pretty pumped. You're trying to get a deal for the next year, and it's going awesome. I mean, if you're him right now, your stock's good. You're happy with where it's at. So awesome. What do you think, though, just from Jett's perspective, being behind that, knowing it's Jason and knowing the history and being a little weird with it? Like, what did you think Jett was going through for what seemed like forever all night?
I think that Jett was dealing with Jason like you would deal with a rabid porcupine on steroids. You just don't know what to do. You got to put it away and quickly do it, and get that garbage can over top of it, throw it in the garbage bag as soon as you can, in one move, because if shit goes sideways and he gets out of that garbage can, you're in trouble. And so I think Jett was just taking his time and was super patient with him.
That's impressive. I mean, that's what I would have felt behind him. I feel like with him and Barsha, there's just a magnetic force around them of just weird energy. And Jett was sitting in it forever and trying things over and over. And it was rad. It was fun to watch him have to figure it out and finally do it. But Jason gets credit. That his defense was top notch.
Yeah. It was great. That was great. Our producer, Kellen, chime in here if you can. I had someone tell me today, now granted, they wear a green shirt at the races, but I had someone tell me today, Kellen, that they think Jason's got a whole new attitude. Like citing the press conferences, citing interviews. And I'm like, well, I don't speak to him much. So
I can see it. I think in a way it looks like there's like less pressure on him this year. Maybe because there's so many eyeballs on Prado now. Whereas the last couple of years with AC's issues, he was like the team leader. And there's all these like expectations put on him, and suddenly that's not there. Maybe it would be my theory with that. Because definitely speaking to him after the race, like I spoke to him after A2 again, and just, yeah, very happy, energetic. I asked him like, hey man, after being sick all week, I bet this is like a win. He's like, oh dude, definitely. So I think he's really in a good spot mentally.
You say anything about talking to me? Did he say, hey, no?
Yeah.
Really?
We'll see if he's turned a leaf. Right? See if he comes off.
So Kellen, you would validate the green shirted guy that told me his attitude has been great.
So far, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right.
Isn't that weird though, Steve? He's in a contract. I mean, you're fighting for a contract. Usually this is your edgy, anxiety-filled time because you're nervous. I mean, it's a weird approach to be so happy, loose, and stoked when you're. And I mean, I guess you're looking at employment options. You know?
Yeah, every rider I've worked with or been on teams whose contracts are up are nut jobs. Yeah, they're whack jobs about their deal and their results and everything. So, but leave it to Jason to be counterculture, right? When it comes to
be the guy laughing and smiling as he's figuring it out. But then again, with Ducati, with Trent, with all that coming in, it probably feels a little more secure if you're him, right? You feel like you're probably going to end up being okay. Where in other years, maybe you're like, geez, who knows? You know, you get
No, absolutely. By the way, Daniel, I don't know where your Zool's bag went, but Zool's has you covered with backpacks, roller travel bags, gear bags, and more. I know you used your Zool's the other week. Go to zoolsbagco.com, Pulp25 code to save off your next order. Zacho, Kennard, Carey Hart, Pastrana, Blair, all choose Zool's for their travel and equipment organizational needs. Great company, great bags. And then also thanks to the folks at Seat Concepts, by the way, Pulp25. Ride the world with Seat Concepts. Factory Beta, Phoenix Racing, Ampro Yamaha, SLR Honda. From the Race 2.0 to the Comfort Series, proprietary foam and handcrafted seat shapes are made in the USA. And our guy Max over there working hard at Seat Concepts. So thanks to Seat Concepts and Zool's for the support of this show.
And I'll throw in some love for ASV Inventions. Has been innovating American-made motocross components and tools since the year 2000. Steve, guess what year 2000 is? Guess when I graduated?
2000?
Yep. Class of 2000, bro. I thought we were all going to die that year. I was told. Made by riders, for riders in Southern California. And the ASV boys, they're on all the Orange Brigade bikes. And great products. PulpMX, all caps, is the code to get all free stuff paid for by Steve at asvinventions.com.
You are fake news, but I'm trying to get an ASV lever for the Blue Crew bike of mine, and I need to get on that right away. All right, next up, Daniel, the youth movement. I believe this is your topic. This is something you wanted to discuss.
I'd like to rub your nose in it. Remember last week? I know you have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, but I brought up the youth movement on this show last week, and you fought me and said Jordan Smith, and you didn't go along with what I was putting down. And then we got an all-team podium this weekend. So I just want you to acknowledge that I was right. That's all.
Jordan Smith went full Jordan Smith on the last lap when he didn't have to. Otherwise, he's standing on the podium again for the third straight race.
But he didn't. It was Cole Davies.
Okay, so...
But you were right on that because I did not see the podium come. I felt that might have been a little rich for me. You did go podium, so I'll give you that.
Well, the class isn't that deep, and he's really good. And so I wrote that after Anaheim won. I'm like, this kid's going to get a podium. What did you make, though, Daniel, speaking of your past in Orange Brigade and your kid and all this other shit, what do you make of Drew Adams and his debut? He didn't know he was until Friday. Some people close to Drew were like, yes, he got a little tired in the main, but he had to do 85 laps on Friday to show Mitch that he was ready. I don't know, like whatever. Look, getting a little tired or tight as the pros say, in your first main event is totally fine. I thought he rode great. He looked well after the first qualifying session. I think he was 5th overall. And yeah, good job, Drew Adams. But what do you think, DB?
I would say the group close to him probably has a higher standard that they wanted him to meet, and they're probably going to push him hard to reach for higher standards. But for a first time and in the circumstances and just how this is all going, I mean, he was planning on racing Glendale this week in future. I mean, he's had a confusing little run here. So for me to jump in and get in and just get it done, go through it and go, oh, I did it. I thought it went perfect and smooth and no issue whatsoever. But at the same time, you got to balance that. You got to go into their first one and hope it goes smooth, but also have a standard that is high. And they see what Cole Davies is doing. They probably believe that's where he can get to. I think he can get there too. But the key with him is he is younger and he's bigger. So everyone thinks he's older and he's been on 250 for a while, but he's still 16. So he is really, really young. And I think that they should give him a longer leash as far as just, the pressure, the expectation, even those last few minutes. I would say as long as he's getting in good reps, this first year is kind of a wash. That's why I wanted him in there anyway, Steve. I've been saying that on the show since our very first one. I wanted him in there because this is just a wash year, just to learn. And so for me, I would say absolutely perfect debut, but his inner circle is going to want more, and they should, because he is worthy of a higher standard, and it'll come. I think by the end of this year, he'll be freaking ripping by the end of Supercross.
I have two thoughts here. For one, he's 16. Drew Adams, Kellen, is that true?
Yeah, he turned 17.
What?
Right after Daytona, I think. February, March something.
He's 16?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. Props to him. So Davies is older.
Davies is older.
Right.
He's July, so he just turned 17. Drew is 17 in March. So yeah, 6-7 months younger.
If only our producer would come in here with any sort of fact checks at all. That would be great.
Sorry, I was looking it up. Yes, he was born March 31st, 2008. So,
oh my God. First of all, 2008. Like, holy shit, right? Anyways.
Born in 08 when J-Law was out there winning.
So, DB, should he be close? So, last year's, also, too, second point, I can't believe Daniel, the amateur motocross expert that he is still calling it Futures. That's sad. The name has been changed to Next Class or something. Supercross Next, right?
It's SMX Next. Yes.
Yeah. So bad. Shame on you,
yeah,
DB.
Well, you know what? I don't get the emails anymore. The ones I used to get. Didn't get the memo.
Second point. So last year, Cole Davies beat Drew more than Drew beat him, but they were damn.
Other way.
What? Okay.
Drew won 3. Cole won 2.
Okay. So should Drew be closer to Cole?
No. And see, that's the thing. Drew is big and tall and strong and like freaky talented. So he got on a 250 really, really early, and it really kind of warped people's perception of him because he was battling Casey Cochran in the amateurs and coming up short to Casey a lot. And it was kind of seen as like a fail. And it was like, whoa, hold up. He's way, way, way younger. He's just big and strong and talented. So he's actually not as experienced as Cole as far as that next step of maturity. Even on the Supercross stuff, Cole's been on it for a few years longer. So no, I do think Drew's close, but I do think he's a little bit behind. He'd be like one wave behind as it comes to shore. So no, I don't think he should be that close yet. But by the end of the year, probably closer to within range. And then by next year, I would say, yeah, throw him in a pool together as guys that can win. But he should be a little bit behind Cole in the development.
Okay. All right.
6 months, to be honest, 6 months to a year.
I know you don't know the name of the class, but you do know the class better than I do. So I value your opinion on that.
This weekend is the first one, and I got the list today.
Who's the favorite?
I don't want to say it because Bobby will sign him on Friday, track walk. So I'm not going to say anything. All I'm going to say is this.
Revin? Is Revin the favorite? What about Racing? Is it Revin racing?
Oh, Revin turned pro.
Okay. All right.
Revin Gordon turned pro. His brother Landon Gordon, though, would be one of the favorites. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Landon Gordon's a favorite.
Yes. I'm just going to give you 3 names, though, to watch, and in no expectation. Just 3 names because they're my kids. All right. Landon Gibson, Rockstar Husky kid. Luke Fauser, Orange Brigade KTM, and Wyatt Thurman, Orange Brigade KTM. Those are my boys. That's who's racing. The rest of the team, the rest of the big bike roster, they're all starting in Daytona. But those are the 3 names to root for.
Kellen, who's going to win this Supercross next?
I have not seen the full entry list either, but I would say of the ones that DB mentioned, Landon Gibson should be considered a favorite based on past success and his current trajectory. So,
all right,
yeah, he got second at St. Louis last year, as like a week after his 15th birthday. He's super young too, like Drew. And then Wyatt Thurman's young too. He's 14. He'll be the youngest one out there.
All right. TLD Race Tech, Blair Matthes Project. Thank you to Troy Lee Designs. PulpMX 3 is the code to save at Troy Lee just for 1 week. And then next week we'll give you another code. Racetech.com, of course. Love those guys. All the things that they do to support the sport, including the amateurs. Always there for those guys. DB, couple more topics that you threw out. ClubMX and what else? Oh, concern for Cooper Webb. So you touch on which one you want.
The Webb one, I'll just go with that one first. I feel like he has to survive January. It's kind of always the thing because it's just the big open stadiums, and I've always felt like these are a little tougher for him for whatever reason. And so I have this like feeling like I allow January to be a little loose with the results, and it's not a big deal. But I just don't like the way the last two have really looked. Kind of been up front and kind of ended back. And I don't know. I feel like it's slipping away before he gets to the place where he can be strong. And that's been my concern, I guess, with him, is just hanging in there until we get into the messier type situations and tracks and tighter beat up stuff. So I'm just concerned, or I guess I'm curious if you're concerned too, because right now I considered him to be one of the title threats over Kenny. And right now, of course, Kenny's done what he's done, and Coop is not inspiring me as much with what I've seen. And I'm nervous that it's getting too far away before we get into his playing ground. So your thoughts?
That's Daniel Kellen absolutely hitting the panic button on Cooper Webb after 3 races. Unbelievable. Guy's a 2-time champ, sorry. And Daniel is hitting the panic button. Like, Daniel, he sucks at Glendale. It's never good for him. And then we're East Coast with ruts and everything that he loves. Like, calm down.
I like the technical difficulties too, which is we couldn't even hear the panic button. But go off.
Because
why couldn't you hear the panic button?
Oh no.
Kelly, can you insert a panic button?
Sure, Steve. You got it.
Having a slight concern is not pressing the panic button. I said I'm just concerned and curious your thoughts. Jeez. Take it out of context. You'd say I'm fake news.
Is that? You hear that?
Nope.
Why isn't it? It's right into the mic. That's really weird. All right. Kellen's going to insert a panic button in there.
No panic button.
You said concern. Like, you said concern. Like, dude, settle down. Like, wow. He sucks at Glendale, and it's not going to go well. He'll work through that, and then he'll be fine. Jeez.
What's be fine to you?
Like, win races and get on the podium.
And win the title. I mean, I think
I didn't say that.
They come in winning to win the title. He didn't come in for any other reason. That's the standard. That's what I'm just saying. That's the standard coming in for them. And I would be concerned after 3 if that's the standard, is to win it.
I wish you guys would hear my panic button again. That's all I wish. But okay. ClubMX.
Well, he's the title guy for me. That's why it's. Okay. I'm not concerned that he's going to do well. He's going to do well. I'm concerned because I consider him to be someone that would be title eligible.
Okay. I'm concerned that you're concerned.
I have eyeballs. I'm not even there, and I've watched. Dude, he's on screen. It hasn't been great. That's all.
All right, ClubMX, go.
On the flip side, they, for whatever reason, somehow, no matter what, they just do something every year to last year, what they did at High Point with the 3 guys up front and Finnis leading and all that was just insane, right? It's like, but they do those things. It's like they remind you all the time, like the things that they could do. And this year with their roster, and just think about it, the power that left. You lose Marchbanks, you lose Phil. I mean, you're having to reload and start over, but you got old Cody in there to hold it down while you have Reynolds and Finnis and Bolin rebuilt. And you kind of go into it feeling like, oh man, they're going to really have a tough one this year. And then Cody Schock wins a heat at Anaheim. And it's just, I think the team needs to get some credit because they're non-traditional for sure. It's a facility. They do it all in-house. They run their own style of program. But Steve, they always do something to splash on screen, and Cody Schock winning a heat race is insane. It's just, you didn't see that coming years ago, and I don't even know if it happens without the club guy. It's just a perfect marriage of a team and a rider to go and do something like that. It's cool. So I think they need to be recognized.
Kellen, I don't think Daniel knows that Cody won a heat last year.
I know this is the second one, but
okay.
Just their team this year coming in to me was being carried by Cody Schock. 2 years ago, you would have told me that, I would have been like, wait, what? I mean, they had J-Mart and Phil and Enzo and Garrett, and now it's Cody Schock's going to carry this thing for us. And here we are at round 3 at Anaheim, and the dude wins a heat again. So
I always like looking at the 250 Supercross class, and then what I like to do, and I got some shit for this from Phil and other people on a text, but I compared the Partzilla team to ClubMX as a privateer team, quote unquote. When they're, I do think ClubMX guys are a step above the Partzilla guys, just funding and bikes and everything else. But essentially, it boils down to a privateer team. I like looking at 250 Supercross results and seeing, because look, test tracks, great bikes, great riders to ride with, always equal factory riders doing really well in Supercross compared to privateers. So when I look at results, like I like looking at seeing, okay, who's the first privateer after all the factory guys? And last year it was Hunter Yoder a lot of times on the West. Yeah. and good job for Hunter Yoder and the Partzilla team. But this year through 3 rounds, it's Cody Schock and then a bunch of factory rides behind him. And then Hunter Yoder and Lux Turner and these type of dudes. So he has been really good. They are making an impact on the track with Cody, and then off the track with breaking riders' fingers, also making an impact with pit boards. So good job to those guys. Look, man, it was an accident. I don't back off, everyone. I know it was an accident, and I feel bad for the dude.
Yeah, could you imagine if it wasn't? There's no one in the sport that would do it on purpose.
No,
person. I saw a few people that are like dirty, and it's like it's not dirty. It wasn't dirty. It was an accident.
No, stop it, everybody. But no, props to Cody, props to the team. Absolutely doing a great job. And Cody won that heat. Obviously, Davies was all over him. He rode really well, withstanding that pressure. And do you know Cody at all, DB?
I've maybe said hi to him once. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know him at all.
Kellen knows him, I'm sure, as well. I don't know if it's part of their super secret gaming crew that they have, but Cody Schock's an awesome kid. He's an awesome dude, very friendly, very polite, very personable, an easy rider to cheer for. Kellen, would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I started like really kind of getting to know him when he rode for ML's team, and he was like really hard on himself, I feel like, back then for like not delivering results that he felt like he was capable of. But then, like DB alluded to, I think in the first episode or second episode, like when he had that summer where he broke out on a Honda, like that seemed to kind of change a lot about his own mentality, his own career and stuff like that. And he like got the hunger again, it seems, and like got the fire back inside of him. And it's awesome to see that he's like used that to get to this point again.
Yeah, easy guy to cheer for sure. Also easy to cheer for Alpine Stars protection gear, whether you look at the neck braces, you look at the chest protectors, they got the full front and back ones, they got just the body and the chest and back one. They have a really cool airbag chest protection coming from motocross. I think Austin Faulkner is going to start wearing that. That inflates upon you detaching from the bike. So Alpine Stars protects. They've got a lot of cool stuff for there. I wear the A1 Plasma under protector under the jersey, and so check out Alpine Stars protection line of gear that they have. And thanks to the folks at Firepower as well, firepowerparts.com. ClubMX using Firepower. Speaking of them, batteries, chains, oil, hard parts, loading ramps, tie downs, you name it, they got it. Firepowerparts.com. I'm off this week to the WPS dealer meeting show thing in Phoenix, and I'm going to hang out with the Firepower guys, so I'm looking forward to that. And lastly, Maxxis tires, Hunter Yoder, Kay Clayson, Fast Freddy, all making main events on Maxxis tires this week, developed by some guy named Jeremy McGrath, it says here. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him. And soft intermediate to hard terrain tires, great mountain bike tires too as well from the folks at Maxxis. Really love those guys and the things they help us out with. So Maxxis is on this show, and if you haven't thought about a Maxxis tire for your 450 or your 250, then take a look at what they got, man. Stuff works pretty well.
And shout out to Decal Works. From beginners to seasoned vets, race teams, project builds, and magazine tests, Decal Works' mission is to cater to those who love to ride. Upholding the true definition of quality, service, and knowledge, visit decalmx.com and use promo code PulpMX25. Is that right? PulpMX25?
Yeah.
PulpMX25 to get 20% off your custom graphics. Decal Works, #1 for many reasons. Boom, Steve, I'm figuring it out. I'm getting good at this, man.
You are good. And remember, we took the decal money from Weege to you. That's the best part of that read.
Right. Absolutely good.
Okay, next up for me, Jorge Prado. Really nice guy. I wish him well. But I can't sit here and take this blasphemy about the nets anymore from him. He did it again on social, and he crashed and he put out his arm and he said he hit the net, the pole of the net that holds the netting, and it dislocated his shoulder. And I just, man. Hey, Jorge, those nets have saved thousands, well, maybe 10 lives. And they're amazing, and they protect the riders, cradle the riders like in my bosom of safety. And so I won't stand for this garbage talk from Jorge Prado. And man, back off our nets. It's America, and we love the nets. So beat it. Now, having said that, I wish him a full recovery, and he is a good guy. And perhaps the Spanish to English language translation got lost there with the nets blasphemy. I'm not sure. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But also,
just this once, though.
Just this once. And also, though, I do want to say, I don't want him to get hurt, but I told you so. What he's trying to do, go straight to 450s, is hard. And he didn't look comfortable in those 2 sections of whoops at Anaheim too. And he crashed on a rhythm, and he might be out for a little while. And dude, I'm telling you, like, I know it's a long time ago, and I know you kids listen to this don't even know these names, but like dudes like Seb Tortelli, dudes like Greg Albertin, they came straight from Europe, right into the premier class, and they just kept eating shit over and over and over and getting hurt. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to Jorge Prado, but I'm just saying what he's trying to do is really hard.
Those names you brought up, those are the 2 names I thought of too, which both bad dudes that just had some bad get-offs in Supercross trying to learn it late. And I'm with you on Prado. Look,
I would think Prado, though, is younger than Albie and Tortelli.
And his style is translatable. You could tell he's got some technique that would translate. And it has. He's still a good rider on Supercross. But here's the problem, Steve, is he is coming in at the worst time in history. If you think about the amount of champions that are on the gate, 250 champions, this would be one of the richer times we've ever had. In the waves of history, this would be one of the better times. He is coming in with 3 full eras of bad dudes in there. The Jett era that's joining the pack now, the Chase Sexton, AP, AC kind of age group that was in there. Then the it's so nasty deep right now, and he's coming in and trying to learn that against them. The timing is terrible, and that's why I think he has the talent to figure it out. I think it's going to be maybe okay in the long run, but the expectations need to be, again, I think we talked about this, need to be thrown out in Supercross and given the longest leash of all time, because it's too gnarly right now, and he doesn't know enough, and he just switched from a steel frame. I know the aluminum, but he rode mini bikes on the KTM too. So he doesn't have experience outside of that at all. Everything was set up for it to go bad. And I feel terrible because I don't want to lose an outdoor threat. And because I think he could be really special there, but this was never going to be easy, ever.
Yeah, and let's wait and see. Maybe he's out a couple races. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I did stay at a Holiday Inn, so maybe he's back soon. But yeah, man, what he's trying to do is really hard. And then when you add on shit talking the nets, it's tough look.
I did want to quickly interject. I didn't know this. Did you guys know Tortelli was only 19 when he won LA 98?
I knew he was a world champion at 18. Yeah. So that makes sense.
He was only 19, and Albertine made his 250 Supercross debut when he was 23.
And what is Prado? And what is
Prado? Is 24.
Okay. So props to comps. So I was wrong about not only Tortelli being older, but also Albie being older. So great job on that. But the point remains.
The point might be proven even better. He's older than even them and stuff. So I think your point might be stronger.
Well, listen, there's a reason why the successful guys like Pichon or like Purcell or whatever, they start in 250s, man. It's just easier. The bikes give you a better advantage, everything. So, but I believe the rule is Prado could not race 250s. The rule is an MXGP champion can't do it, which is an insane rule to me. But it's also insane that anyone from Europe can just jump into Supercross without qualifying for it. I don't know how that works. But you don't have to ride futures like everyone else. You just jump into the class no matter what, because you're good at motocross.
Yeah, you're making a great point, because if he was to start in 250 Supercross, throw him on Mitch's bike, on Mitch's team on 250 Supercross. No disrespect, but I don't think he's beaten Hayden. He ain't beaten Juju. He ain't beaten Jordan, and he's probably in there messing with Cole, a 17-year-old rookie. He's probably right around there. And that would be considered a major fail from a 2-time world champ, but it would actually be considered good in reality. That would actually have been a good start. And a great Vial's a champ, and he wasn't super young when he came over. He already had a couple of years in. So yeah, I mean, revisionist history, man. But I mean, you go back and maybe go 250 and it looks different, because you're right. It's just, you're riding a 450 against the gnarliest time in a long time. And tough ask, really tough ask for him. And then tough go.
Daniel, you'll like this story. I heard, I didn't check this up, but I heard from pretty good people that would know. So a kid from Canada named Julien Benek, he's on a Triumph team up in Canada. He showed up, he had a broken wrist or something. So this was his first round, and he showed up and he qualified 19th overall. And apparently after one of the practices, and he did look pretty good in the whoops. He's a bigger dude, he's made some mains. Apparently after one of the practices, someone with a Yamaha shirt comes over and goes, "Bobby Reagan wants to see you."
You're lying to me.
I'm not. And so he goes over there apparently, and Bobby tells him, "You look great. You look awesome. Like that's amazing."
Dax? Did he think it was Dax?
I don't know, but somehow it works into like Julien Benek may or may not ride a star bike and see how that goes. I don't know, man, but it's really believable because we know how Bobby works. Somehow he's up in the stands watching unseated practice and picks out a guy 19th and thinks that, he can turn Julien Benek into a race winner when the kid's, never raced that many supercrosses. But I love that story, and I know you would love it.
I mean, either that or he's just majorly cross-rutted because it's not Julien Beaumer or Dax Benek. It's Julien Benek. It's neither one of those two. So I don't know if he's cross-rutted from the stand or what, but it's neither one of them. They already did future. You already got one of them, and the other one's winning the points in the West. So
I don't know, man, but that's a great story. So I don't know if Julien Benek will ride a bike, and I don't know if he's got a ticket to Tallahassee. I have no idea, but I knew you would like that. Just Bobby Reagan spotting it from the stands.
Yep.
Hey, a couple other things before we go, and we got to do our fantasy picks as well. Kellen, hopefully he's not going to screw me this week.
You complain a lot for a points leader, man. That's all I got to say. You're leading.
The gentleman he tried to get me to pick Vince Freeze last week. Vince didn't even show up. I'd be 22 plus 5 if I would have made that pick. Anyways, a couple things. Lucas Mirtl, he called me at we start at 5 o'clock on a pulp show, and he called me at 10 after 4 and said, "You got room for me on the show tonight?" And I'm like, how you doing? And are you sure? And he said yes, and he's doing well. And so we put him on. And Daniel, you watched.
I did. So I was preparing to do my podcast, and I got the text from you in the group text, and you said, "Hey, he's coming on." And I was like, "Yeah, right." And so we actually, in our little podcast group, we brought it up, and sure enough, he came on and you interviewed him. And Steve, the sport is so crazy right now. I mean, this whole thing was shocking last week, obviously. And then you get through the weekend and then he comes on Monday. And of course you do the right thing, which was you took his request, put him on, brought him on there, let him speak. And yeah, I listened to all of it. And I'm blown away because I am close to them in years past. I know the Lawrences, I know Jacob, I know Lucas. I'm friends with all of them. And so it is weird, fast forward, a year or so, because I haven't really been around them that much, to fast forward and all this to happen. So I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective of, I know what it was. I know what the group acted like, worked like, and was. And to think that it's this now is just shocking and fast to me on the outside. So, but from what I understand too, this is kind of a delicate situation and a delicate topic when it comes to legal matter. I don't know where it's going to go in that. I don't know enough, but man, I'm shocked that we're here and that it's this transparent too. It's just wide open out in the public, just talking about it, and he's calling it crazy.
I'm with you. I didn't think in 1,000 years either Darren Lawrence or Lucas Mirtl would want to talk on this subject on the show. And Lucas's social media posts and everything else, I don't think have been a great light on him, but he sounded okay on the show last night. And he said he's innocent of these charges and that he looks forward to getting back into the pits with some riders. And again, I don't know what's true or what's not, right? But innocent until proven guilty. I know, you and Mirtl had a falling out a little bit a while ago, and myself and Lucas, about a year ago this time, we had a big blowout, and we got over it, but we were never as tight as we were before the blowout. And, we were friendly, but not friends, where I would think we were friends before. And I think maybe you fall into that same category.
I do. And we're all in a group fantasy football league.
Yeah,
together,
that got weird. Yeah.
It still stays weird. But that's inside the group. I think we get wild in there. That's different. But no, I had a falling out. It was straight business. I mean, it was me in the role at KTM and him in the role as an agent and a representative. And I lost a rider, and it was a rider that I thought was coming to me due to the relationship there that I actually initiated. So, it feels bad on the back end when you introduce a rider to an agent, they work it out under the assumption you'll be together, and then it doesn't work out and you end up losing him. That was extremely frustrating for me. Not even on the professional level, on the personal, because the kid I liked a lot. It was kid Tiger Wood, kid from Australia. He was one of my closest kids, I would say, to me. There's a little pack of them, 3 or 4 that were they were a group. They were always together. He was one of them. And I lost him, and that was frustrating to me, and it did cause some issues with me and Lucas because it was a professional major disagreement that of course bled over because we're humans, and he likes to talk smack and I like to talk smack, and sometimes you accidentally take a professional matter into a personal one, and then kind of oops. So there you go on that. But I do wish him well, and I don't want anything terrible for him and bad for him. He's got rough waters to navigate, but I will say he is one of the toughest, kind of grittiest, most, I would say, intelligent people that I do know. And if he's going to get out of this thing and recover and rebound in whatever way, he would be a person that I would think could pull it off, because he's pretty talented, Steve. You know that. So I don't know where this goes for him and where this whole story goes, but man, it's going to be wild to watch because it doesn't seem to be staying quiet. It seems to be
No, I think
get out there. So that's
I think we will hear more about this coming in, but yeah, I mean, look, I didn't think he'd want to come on the Pulp Show, and when he called me, I was like, okay. And of course, I had to put him on and ask him some questions, and like I said, not as close as we used to be, but I still consider him a friend, and so hopefully, the best of luck to him. And it sucks because what he did with the Lawrences was awesome, and he was a big part of that. And then Jacob Hayes, he literally plucked Jacob from riding to be his understudy, and now that is, that bridge is gone. And so there's a lot of friendships that are just up in smoke over this, on both sides. And that's a shitty situation for the people who are social media warriors out there. Like, maybe if any of you have these same issues come up in your friendship circle or your thing, then maybe put yourself in those shoes before you attack me or Lucas or the Lawrences or whatever. Like, there's a human element, and Daniel, you brought that up about this. It's not just business. These are real people with families and all of that things going through this stuff. And the truth will come out eventually, and we'll see how this thing turns. But yeah, it's interesting to have him on the show. That's for sure.
It was wild. How are your numbers? How are the live numbers? You
know what? I didn't even look. It doesn't. I don't care.
I was curious because again, I would take your show in the audio form after. I wouldn't go on the live. It's hard for me to catch things, but maybe it was the timing in the moment and the topic. But I clicked it live. I wanted to know
right.
What say. I wanted to know. I'm curious. I really don't know, and I want to hear from him. So.
We couldn't say he was coming on because I didn't have confirmation he was coming on. He said he'd like to come on. Can we do it at this time? But I'm not 100% sure. So I didn't want to put it out there in case. And literally 15 minutes before he was to come on, he texted me and said, I'm good to go. And by that point, we couldn't advertise it. We couldn't talk about it or anything else. So I had to bump Phil. I bumped poor Philip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Phil came on earlier, but for a shorter amount of time because I had to make a slot open for Lucas if he did manage to come on. So, all right, broadcast talk with Daniel Blair.
One thing I do want to point out, though, because I think Jett does need to get some credit on this, because you come in 0-2, the bike ain't all the way right. You're starting to hear it a little bit. Eli's looking better than you thought. Chase is looking better than you thought. Probably got some pressure going on there. And then this happens, regardless of how, when, whatever. But he's a human being, and he knew all day, every day that was a real thing that existed, that Lucas wasn't there. And for Jett to be able to handle all the regular race pressures, which were already mounting, and then have that, and then go and win, it's kind of special. Like, you really got to think about him as young as he is, and the pressure that these guys all are going through, to have that big distraction, and a guy that you've known that was with you since the minute you got to this country. That's pretty high pressure for anyone to manage. And he won. And I think it does need to be recognized that it was a bigger moment and a bigger win for Jett than maybe just round 3. There was a lot going on, and it's pretty commendable.
Yeah, yeah. No, well said. Blair's broadcast thoughts, weekly segment, whether he likes it or not. Weege was back. Weege was in the booth first time. Go.
Well, I have to tell you, this one was taken in a little different for me. I was in Oklahoma at the Arena Cross, and I was having some phone charger issues, which meant that I actually watched the first half of the race in the van with the heater on, running so that my charger would charge my phone. So I watched sitting in the parking lot like an absolute creeper in a white van, supercross for about an hour and a half while my stupid phone charged. Then when it was done, I went in to the room where my son and his friend were, and we watched it, and it was kind of loud, obnoxious. So I don't have anything to say about the actual commentary this week, Steve. I don't have it this week, but I will in future episodes share when I have something to share. But I didn't listen to that this week like that.
Stay tuned for Blair's broadcast thoughts next week on the Troy Lee Designs Race Tech Show.
I have some. I
know. It's fine.
I'll tell you this straight up. I think the broadcast overall is amazing. The fact that the motorcycle racing exists on television, it looks the way it does. We're really lucky, and it is a spectacle. The things that I will share over the course of time will just be little things that just from my expertise on the topic. Like, Steve, if I was to ask you about suspension settings and wrenching, whatever, I would like to know your thoughts because you did it. So I will share my thoughts, but it ain't gonna be a hammer session. I'll share the things that I think could be better and things that maybe are amazing that they need to do more.
Wow. Kellen, check out Donnie Defensive over here. Like,
I
dude,
just don't want people to think this is like all of a sudden like hammer hour.
I'm not saying it is. It's not Donnie's. It's not Daniel's. Donnie Defensive Daniel, whatever that. I'm trying to make a joke here. It's not Daniel's hammer on the broadcast segment. It's just Daniel's broadcast thoughts, good and bad.
Yeah.
So, sounds like you're a little touchy about it, but I don't care. We're asking about it every week.
Okay. Again, I just don't want people to get all excited and get all fired up like they think I'm going to drop heat. I'm not here to drop heat. I'm just tell the truth when it gets.
I would love for them to get all excited and click on this show more. So
I forgot about that element. Let's drop some bombs, Steve. Let's make things happen for the clicks.
TroyLeeDesigns.com.
Put Deegan's name in the title this week. Kellen?
Yeah, Kellen. We didn't even mention him once, but
just put Deegan like 3 times across, dude. We will get double of the views. It'll be a big one.
Deegan. I like that.
Deegan.
By the way, he deleted his social media post, I guess. I heard. I don't know.
Who did?
Deegs.
Which one?
The one where something about daddy. Juju was a daddy, or he was Juju's daddy. He deleted it. Kellen, is that true, Kellen? I never bothered to fact check.
Yes, it's accurate. It was up like
walk it back
3 hours or so, and then he deleted it and then put up the post where he said enough trolling, and it was just him riding a cycle bike. So
using that. Steve, what did you think of that interview after the main?
I mean, the biggest thing I think of is maybe, I doubt it, but he either clicked on the ClubMX show to hear Julien's interview, or he watched the ClubMX YouTube that Kellen Brower built, and I somehow profited from Deegs. Somehow. Yeah. That's all I could think of.
I like it. Hey, he is confusing though, man. He first off, he's lucky too, because if Juju was a little meaner, oh God. I mean, that had K-Dub Phoenix written all over it, Steve, on that second berm. I thought Juju after the heat race and I thought Juju was going to go and absolutely give him some, and he pulled out the last second.
Wait, someone else just told me that yesterday about the K-Dub. Was that Kiefer on the show? I think Kiefer used the exact same analogy.
Oh, it's the first
on the show.
Bro, the overhead shot was the same look. You could see it coming in. It looks just like that. Because remember how K-Dub just gets blocked the corner before, gets all mad, crosses over and just annihilate. DV had no clue.
Yeah, we put that on.
It looked like that coming, and then it just didn't. He pulled out. But yeah,
that's what she said. Kellen built that social graphic. Found that footage, a little grainy, but that was our guy, Kellen Brower. All right, last topic before we get into our fantasy here on the Troy Lee Designs Race Tech Blair Matthes project. Daniel, do you think, I should say, what point at Glendale this weekend during the night show program do I get mentioned or honored or something brought up for the fact of basically like a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who embeds himself in with a Vietnam troop and writes everything down? I am going to Reno Arena Cross on Friday, and then catching a flight Saturday morning and going to Phoenix. And I'm doing 2 races in 2 days, real journalism, boots on the ground, things that guys like Lewis Phillips and Wygant would never do. And do you think that at some point in Glendale, I get recognized for these incredible feat?
Like on the broadcast?
No, more in stadium.
Oh, like live in like part of opening ceremonies?
You said it. I didn't say it.
When do you go? Are you before the riders or like after the points leader? Like when do
they do the legends and when do they do the legends and heroes thing? Maybe I can fit into a legend and a hero thing that they do. A Glover gives them a plaque. Maybe that could be me.
The odds just went up that this could happen because I was going to say your first idea was 0, but this could happen. Legends and heroes. I mean,
they are looking for people, and I'm surprised, DB, that at Oakland or something you didn't get pulled in there. NorCal's own Daniel Blair.
I was on the list for the next Oakland, and it went away, man. I'll never get in there. Yeah,
listen, what I'm attempting to do is maybe never been done, and it's incredible. And I will have plenty of Gatorade and snacks and things to keep me going 2 and 2. And
good this week. You have to be, and you're in Phoenix or Glendale right now, right? Aren't you already there? No, you're not there, but you're going there
tomorrow,
and then to Reno from there.
Vegas, Vegas, Phoenix, Reno, Phoenix, Vegas.
You're a machine.
Thank you. Kellen can't even make it to Glendale, and I'm going twice. Yeah, Kellen's got nothing.
Wow, he had nothing.
Okay.
He just made a face.
So that's my schedule, and I hope that the appropriate people at Feld. I mean, look, if I survive Vince Freeze on Friday night, I probably deserve a medal right there.
He'll be on your flight Saturday morning. Maybe.
I think he's doing the double. Yeah, I think he is trying to.
Do it together as a team.
Yeah, it's heroes, Daniel. Heroes.
Hey, guess how many rounds I'm going to this year?
Yeah, 0.
Zippo.
You don't even have a credential.
I don't have a credential. First time ever. Actually, well, first time in a long time. But yep, nope. Watching them from the couch this year and on my cell phone in the van.
Thank you to the folks at Decal Works, Maxxis Tires, Seat Concepts, A-Stars, ASV Levers, Firepower, Zools, and of course TLD and Race Tech. Use the codes, support the show. I know there's a bunch of people probably don't like me, some nut job, lefty, weirdo, whack job that I am, but you like Blair and you like the Blair Brigade, so use the codes and support the sponsors, all right? Thank you for that. Time for our fantasy picks. We haven't quite decided what the loser's going to do, but stay tuned. We're working on different things in the group text.
We're getting close.
Kellen, do you want to read the results, or would you like me to?
I can, or you can. It's your show.
Yeah. Well, it's not my show. It's us three show.
Should we have Blair read the graphic then?
No, I will, because I want that credit here. So last week on the fan,
I'm gonna come back. It's fine. I'm not worried.
You are cooked, my friend, like Hymus. All right.
Your boy.
Kellen gave me Malcolm Stewart in an attempt to screw me, and I somehow picked exactly Malcolm's finish. He got 9th. I said he would get 9th, and I'm awesome. And then Benny Bloss was next up. I said 15th. Benny actually got 12th. He rode really well. I was 3 off. And then Michael Mosman, I said 10th. Michael came from 20th to 7th. Good ride for Mosman, and that was 3. So total of 6 for me. And Daniel, Hunter Lawrence, you nailed that one. You said 5th. He got 5th.
Yeah.
McElrath, you said 12th. He got 17th.
Yeah.
And then Cole Davies, you said 5th. He got 3rd. So I think, honestly, props to both of us. We were pretty good on this. And I'm up 25 right now on you with 14 races to go.
Yeah.
Low score wins, of course. And now Kellen is going to pick some riders for this weekend's Triple Crown at Glendale, and we will see.
Yes, and we are going to, I hope, get a little bit more chaos with these picks, because those ones ended up being a little bit snoozers. We're going to lead off with DB this week. And since he did an excellent job of foreshadowing what I was going to give him at the beginning of the show, I'm going to have him pick Ken Roxon's result this weekend.
Oh, wow. Pick Ken Roxon, the guy who's got in the box every single one. Yeah, super, super tough, Kellen.
Oh, man. It is tough because he could easily get fifth. There's so many good guys. He could. Oh man, I want him to win though because I don't want to root against my own pick because I don't think he's gonna win. I want him to. Sorry. Second. We'll go second. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Second.
Well, after saying he was going to win earlier in the podcast,
I want him to.
flips.
I said I want him to. There's a big. I'm down points, man. I gotta dig out of this thing.
All right, let the chaos begin. Another week with the hand healing. Where does Joe Shimoda finish?
Oh man, Triple Crown. Man, I feel like he's fifth. Yeah,
Fifth. All right, and then sick this week, but sneaky been good. Hunter Yoder.
Oh, that scares me because he was sick, but he's still got what 10th or 11th. That's his spot. He's there no matter what, and I don't know if he's a good starter. Triple Crown. Let's go 9. Let's go 9.
Ninth. I like it. All right, Matthes. You were complaining about my Roxon pick, but we like variation a little bit in this championship fight. So you got to pick where Cooper Webb's going to finish in Glendale. Never been on the box there before.
Why do I get a guy like Cooper Webb and he gets Ken Roxon, who's been the model of consistency to start the
Because
year?
you're up 25. You've done an excellent job at picking, so you're going to get the hard picks.
It's weighted.
Sixth.
Okay. 6 for Coop. Next up, Drew Adams.
What did he get last week? 9th?
8th.
8th? 7th.
7th. And lastly, Enzo Lopes.
Oh man,
10.
10th. All right. You guys all picked a bunch of top 10 finishes here. I like it.
Yeah,
Thinking
absolutely.
positive this week.
Listen, Kellen is, he's rigging this to get Daniel back into it. I'm not happy. We'll go to HR. We'll go to the authorities, whatever we got to do. Unless I pull out a bigger lead. Then Kellen's did a great job.
You did this
simple
week.
standard.
All right. Okay. Daniel Blair Matthes Project, TLD Race Tech. Did we get it all? Kellen, anything we'd miss topic wise? Anything you think that we should touch on? No? Okay. All right. Well, good times. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to you people for watching and listening. DB, what's your schedule? What's going on this weekend? Where are you taking the kid?
I am going to be home on Saturday. Actually, what I've learned, Steve, about my life, because I'm hectic, right? Like I live a wild, crazy, spread out life. But I did realize that every 10 days or so, you actually need to pick a day to do nothing and be an absolute worthless pile of crap for one day and just do nothing. You sit in sweatpants all day, you play some video games, you eat bad, whatever, and one day, and by about 5 o'clock, you feel completely reset and recharged and remotivated for another 10 days. So this Saturday, I'll be doing nothing. I'm just going to watch Supercross and be an absolute lame-o all day. But otherwise, I'm at the track riding with my kid and just coaching kids and just traveling around the Southeast pretty much.
Well, I suggest you do not watch Race Day Live. They are apparently are having this guy from Vital on. He's British or Australian, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So you may want to skip RDL this week.
I would watch RDL this week. Rumor has it it's going to be a good show. That's what I've heard. I've heard there's an element / guest that's going to make it a good episode of Race Day Live.
I love your planning of doing nothing. I wish I could do that. I was just telling my wife, I've got moto podcast shows or bicycling or travel or, 5-hour shows every single goddamn day of my life so far.
Force it.
So
look at the calendar and pick one day and say, everyone can eat one today. And that's it. Just
okay.
You'll feel so good. By the end of the day, dude, you'll be like, let's go, ready to go at it. Because you just feel so bad.
And I know Kellen, this year, 2025 is the year of the Kellen. He has 14 jobs. So I'm sure he's been pretty busy. It's probably cut into the Start Your Systems stuff he does, whatever that is. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. The reviews are fantastic. And please just share them with Daniel, how great he is. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See ya.